Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It is so good to have you here, and thank you for tuning in. And so, on today's topic, our conversation is going to be a little bit more serious, but it is so important. And today, I want to talk to you about porn addiction. And so, my dear lover and friend, let me ask you this. Do you think that you have a porn addiction? And so, as you feel into that, I wonder what your answer lies. And so today I want to talk to you about pornography because it is a really big deal that's happening in our society. And I see pornography as being one of the number one disruptors of the healthy, divine, masculine character. Okay. And so addiction to porn, what is it? Okay. So I'm going to read it to you here. So, do you have difficulty controlling sexual thoughts? Are you unable to stop watching porn? Do you crave pornographic content in inappropriate places? Do you require extreme content to get stimulated? Are you experiencing irritability when you're not able to watch porn? And are you craving explicit content persistently? Okay. And then I would also add to that, how frequently are you watching porn? Okay. And so the causes of porn addiction can contribute to your biological, environmental, psychological, and cultural factors. But ultimately, let's just cut to the chase and say that pornography makes it easy for men all around the world to get off without having to do much. Okay. And then so here we go wondering why there is this whole disruption in our sexual dynamics and relationships. Why so many women are sexually unsatisfied and why so many men commit suicides because of depression. Okay. And so a lot of these things, I'm not saying pornography is the only thing that is linked to that. However, in today's conversation, pornography is the main objective. Okay. And so as a woman, I personally don't really know what it's like to be addicted to pornography. I've only watched pornography for a little short while when I was in my teenager age. And I remember the Red Porn was the active website at the time. However, as I got older and I started being actually engaged with physical individuals, I no longer felt a desire to go to that. And now, as an adult woman, the thought of even going on a porn website just gives me a creepy feeling, and there is no desire for that. And so I want to talk to you guys about some of the ways that pornography affects men in our world and in our cultures, and hopefully this will bring some new and awareness for you. So number one, your pornography addiction stimulates your brains in the same way as does heroin. Okay, they have done brain tests, and literally the results from the way heroin and cocaine addiction affects the brain, it is the same way that your brain is addicted when it comes to pornography. Next part, pornography desensitizes men. Okay, there is a lot of stimulation that's happening on those videos, and there's such a huge variety of all things. And so when you are constantly exposed to that, the amount of dopamine that gets released into your adrenal glands increases. And over time, it actually numbs your sensory system out. Meaning when you are in front of a real woman, you don't get as excited. This is why a lot of men also experience issues with erections, issues with getting turned on and staying turned on, because the real thing is not what you've been watching, okay? Numbness, erectile dysfunction, mentioned all that. Next, pornography addiction causes huge amounts of insecurity. Because remember, those are mostly actors with the biggest penises and the biggest titties and the most tightly little shaped vaginas that, again, real women just don't have. And so for you men that are average out there watching these scenes, that makes you feel insecure, even if you're not willing to admit it. It lowers your ability to feel empowered in your sexuality. And then watching the way the porn stars perform also makes you feel maybe a little bit inadequate in the way that you're performing. Because most likely you're not like some super athlete who's able to have a hard-on genitals for hours penetrating at like fast speeds. And so insecurities can creep in, and then again, that leaks into your actual physical relationship with your partner. Then we have false expectations, okay? And so that's not just linked to your performance, but importantly now this is linked to the way that you expect for your woman to perform. Because pornography conditions your brain that women act a certain way when it comes to sex. And this is where I can talk, because women do not act like porn stars when it comes to sexuality. And so your entire perception of what real sex is distorted from a very young age, as most boys have access to porn at the age of your puberty. Okay, and so that's the conditioning and the programming, the imagery that you have in your brain that then transfers into how you view real life sexuality. And that's very unhealthy. Next we have there is nothing in comparison to a loving and nourishing connection of a woman versus being connected to your phone screen. Okay, a lot of men think it's just easy to get off from porn. You don't have to do the work. And that's another thing. Porn makes men weak because at the click of your fingertips, you have it here, dopamine released, you feel good. But for how long do you feel good before you have to run back and find that video and do that thing again? As I talk a lot on this channel, it's about sexual energy cultivation. And so pornography, if we're gonna zoom out and look at like the really big distorted picture, it has created a generations of weak men who spill their life force frequently, men who don't have direction, who don't have focus, who are not on their purpose, men that are lost, okay? Is pornography really worth that? Not even for you. If you have children, if you have boys, is that something that you would want to share with them? How would you want your boys to grow up in the world and to make love to women of the future? Okay. And so, yeah, it makes weak men. You don't have to pursue. It depletes your energy. And in another factor, it creates isolation and aggressiveness in men also. Because there really isn't pure connection. You can't really connect to a phone screen, to a laptop screen. It's just there, you with yourself with this technology. And it's not very sacred, okay? And nothing will replace a good woman, okay? Ultimately, sexuality is an experience that should be shared in love, in respect, in beautiful communion. But when we replace the real thing with the screen, we're really losing touch with something really sacred that God has given us, and that ability to connect in beautiful union with one another. And so we have this beautiful ability to connect, to play, to explore sexuality, but because the conditioning has made men have this easy access right at their fingertips, we're losing this part. And so long-term effects of porn addiction are depression, anxiety, narcissistic personality disorders, obsessive compulsive disorders, anxiety. And ultimately, it affects your relationships, because if you are in a relationship with a woman and you are constantly addicted to porn, it is a heavy toll on your relationship. Okay, I personally know many men who have quit porn and who have shared their stories of transformation of what their lives started to look like once they let the porn go. And it's a really, really big shift, you guys. And so I want to inspire you with this video to just start thinking, is it really serving you? And is it really serving your highest and greatest expression? because it's something that we really need to be aware of and conscious of, because again, it is an addiction. I now want to go over how does pornography affect your sex life, okay? And so here we have loss of interest with your partner. If you're watching all these porn stars doing all the wild, crazy things, and then you come home to your beautiful, soft, sexy, vanilla wife, then unfortunately you might not be as satisfied to have sexual relations with her because she is not as wild as what you're used to watching. Difficulty becoming aroused, as I already covered that. Difficulty achieving orgasms without watching porn. That's another big issue with men, is because you're so addicted to this like really intense psychological stimulation that when you are with a real woman, you actually have difficulty getting to an orgasm. Then we have feeling compulsive and out of control, and that relates to when you really like feel the desire to masturbate at inappropriate times of day. Becoming demanding during sex, watching something that you saw online and becoming in states of expectation that your partner should be performing in these ways. Having intrusive thoughts or fantasies. This is a big one, especially when you are having sex with a woman and you start fantasizing about the pornography that you saw. First of all, that's just disrespect, okay? I don't support that type of behavior. It's taking your ability from actually connecting with a woman, which is like a really big point that I'm trying to land here, with the effects of pornography. Sexualizing violent behavior, growing dissatisfaction in your sexuality, sexual dysfunction, delayed ejaculation and erectile dysfunctions, and increased interest in abusive or risky sexual behaviors. And then it says that a lot of these things happened and they end up ending marriages, you guys, because like I said, when you are so addicted to connecting to a phone screen rather than the woman that you have at home, this is where a lot of issues start to form. And so you can do a little more research on that if that inquires your interest, but I wanted to share this video of the serious conversation to just start stirring the pots and to start having you think about your actions, what you're doing and what you're not doing, and just realizing that it's very easy to access, but the effects of that are very long lasting. Even in ways that you might not understand, a lot of these things are very subtle. And if you're not aware and you've been pumping all this dopamine and you've been desensitizing your sexual arousal, your sexual desire to a real person, then you have a lot of things to start unpacking. And so I invite you, as part of your home play from this video, is to take a break. If you're a man who knows you have a porn addiction, I invite you to a challenge. Perhaps start with 1 week of no porn. And maybe then you can move to 2 weeks with no porn. And anytime you feel the urge to watch it, I want you to sit with that desire. Sit and watch the desire for you to run into porn, and witness the emotion that you need behind it. And see if you can find a way to give that to yourself without the porn, okay? This is the inner work, and this is the shadow work of becoming the observers of our reality so that we can start changing our actions and our behaviors so that we can change the patterns that so many people are stuck in. And so, on that note, you guys, I am complete. I hope that you guys are doing wonderful. And if you have any questions, or if you would like personal support with your porn addiction, I am more than happy to offer you my one-on-one guidance. And until we see each other next time, take care.